Hi all, today we're going to do a review of the Voking VK360. Bruce from Voking was kind enough to send me one of these for a review. The one I've chosen is for Olympus and Panasonic, so micro four thirds. But this speedlight comes for, I'm just reading from the box here, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Olympus, Fuji and Lumix. So the only one that I think is missing there is Pentax. So it's a shame to see Pentax not there, but I guess the vast majority of camera users are supported here. It's a TTL speedlight, so that's useful. I'm not a big fan of manual speedlights for on-camera use. Looking at the back of the box, this one has a guide number of 32. It does master and slave mode if you've got the Canon and Nikon mode. It's got a master high-speed sync mode, so I think what that means is you can control a remote flash in high-speed sync mode, because natively this speedlight doesn't support high-speed sync, so if it's on the camera it doesn't support it. It's got a little LCD, which is nice to see. Some of the smaller, cheaper speedlights still don't have LCDs, so it's nice to see an LCD on this one. It does S1 and S2 wireless slave mode, so you can use it as a slave flash. And of course you can put it in manual and manually select the power yourself. It's got a metal hot shoe, it's got the little twisty down to lock it, the wheel. Build quality wise, it's better than I thought it would be. When I first got it, I accidentally dropped it, pulled it out of the box and it went smash on the floor. I was worried I would have broken it. I was worried that I'd have to explain to Bruce that I've broken the flash within about 5 minutes of having it, but thankfully it's not the case. It doesn't seem to have suffered any damage, even though I did drop it from almost waist height onto the kitchen floor. It takes two AA batteries, which is obviously not the standard. The full-size speedlights take 4. So in terms of power, it is significantly lower. This has an official guide number of 32, but at the end of the day, you're not going to buy one of these things and use them as a professional grade flash. If you're shooting events and weddings, you'll want a big one which takes 4 AA's and as powerful as you can get them. But this thing is probably more designed for someone who's travelling around, who wants to travel live. Quite honestly, one of the main reasons why people buy mirrorless cameras is because they are supposed to be smaller, you know, and lighter. So I think it was a lot more useful to carry a little flash like this around if you're going on a family day out or you're going to a friend's birthday party than a big speedlight like that, which just draws a lot of attention to yourself. So it seems to, oops, the little plastic things come off now. The cellophane, that is the LCD is fine. So just lock that into place, and you know, it doesn't look out of place. It actually looks alright on the camera itself. In terms of the head, it twists from there to there. So if that's starting there, so that's 90 degrees, you're talking about 125 degrees there. It doesn't go the full 180, it doesn't go 270. So as you can see, I can't twist it anymore. I can't put position in the head so it's firing behind me. I can bounce it off the ceiling that way, I can bounce it off the ceiling that way, but I couldn't then do it fully to the left. So that's a little disappointing to see. I think if you can twist it that far around, what's a little bit more, but I'm not sure what the reason for that is. There's no white card on top like a lot of speedlights. There's no wide angle diffuser, so that's you know, another feature that's missing, but it's not too bad on a little flash like this. The head also doesn't zoom as well. The menu system itself is pretty easy to use. You've just got a mode button there, which goes from TTL to manual to repeat to the slave modes that I've mentioned. If you will go into manual mode, then you can set the power by pressing set and then just choosing the power you want. And again, it goes up in third of an increments. Now, I've took this to a wedding at the weekend because I wanted to see how it works in the real world. I was pleasantly surprised actually. It meters quite well. The TTL didn't seem to mess up. It worked as well as I think it could be expected. The power was enough for me using it inside. If you want to see some of the sample images, I've got a couple of them on my website which has a review where I've got the review of this flash on. So my thoughts on this are basically this. It's a good little flash. Like I said, it's good proportion, it's light, it's something that I certainly would throw in my bag if I'm going out on a family day out. The problem I've got is this, is if I'm sat at home and I want to buy such a flash, and I'm looking online, then currently the price of the Voking is coming in around £95. That's on eBay and also on one of their UK dealers. I can get a full spec Godox which supports everything for less than that. The young Nuos are less than that. So in terms of pricing, I feel for what you get, it's a little bit too high. Now, taking that aside, you know, sometimes you do pay more to get something in a smaller package. So, okay, if we take that as true, then okay, the question then becomes, would I pay slightly more just to have a nice little flash that I can use and that I can pocket? And even if I said yes to that, doing a little bit more research, there are other small flash manufacturers out there. Nikon do one which is slightly more expensive but has a few more features. But also, and this is where I'm leading with this point, there is a Miki flash which is the MK320. Now I confess I haven't used that flash before. All I've done is doing some research online. I've seen it on the Amazon website as well. Now it looks identical in every way, shape or form other than the badge on it. The LCD looks the same, the size looks the same, the specs look the same. But it's nearly half the price. So I can get that flash, next day delivery I think it was, for £55 or £95 for the Voking. So if I'm a person looking for a flash, I see these two flashes, which would I choose? I'm struggling without having to get a Miki flash alongside it to choose otherwise. You know, if I had the two and I could explain to you, oh, this is better because, but I suspect they're actually clones of each other. I don't know who's cloned each other, but that's the way it is at the moment. I suspect that they're exactly underneath the same flash. So the challenge here is, why would I buy the Voking over the Miki? Okay. Now, if it was the young Nuo, you could say it's coming from China, but I can get both these shipped in the UK, so I've got the warranty from the dealer or from Amazon or whoever the seller is on Amazon. So I think that's ultimately the challenge Voking are going to have to try and find, how to convince people to buy the Voking over the cheaper Miki. It's a shame. Well, it's not a shame. It is what it is. As a flash, I actually really like it. It's small, it's light, it does its job rather well. There are some compromises. Like I've said, there's no zoom, there's no white card. It doesn't support high-speed sync, which isn't the end of the world. But I just feel at the moment it's a little bit too high-priced for what you get. So, do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Drop me an email if you've got any questions. Speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.